At 2:13 a.m., when the snow outside the small Canadian town fell like shattered glass from the sky, the hospital lights flickered once, twice, then everything went dark. Nurses froze. Patients panicked. Machines beeped their last warning. And in that moment of fear, no one noticed the girl in the greasy jacket standing near the maintenance door, until she took a deep breath and whispered, "Please, not tonight." The blackout hit harder than anyone expected. The backup generators, old and neglected, refused to start. Doctors rushed through the hallways using phone flashlights, desperately trying to stabilize patients. A newborn needed oxygen. An elderly man on the third floor needed his dialysis machine. The emergency room was moments away from disaster. People cried, people prayed, and all the while, the winter storm outside cut off every road leading to the hospital. At the center of the chaos stood Maya, a 24-year-old mechanic who had come only to deliver spare parts for the ambulance team earlier that night. She wasn't supposed to be here. She wasn't part of the staff. She was supposed to drop off the kid and go home to her tiny garage on the edge of town. But now, she looked at the terrified faces around her, at the cold hallways, at the silent machines, and something inside her broke. "I can fix the generators," she said quietly. The head nurse turned to her, stunned. They've been failing for years. Even our engineers struggle with them." "I know these engines," Maya replied, her voice steady. "Just give me a chance." With no other option, they agreed. Maya sprinted toward the basement, her boots echoing on the metal stairs. The generator room was freezing, smelling of old fuel and forgotten maintenance. She pulled off her jacket, revealing her oil-stained uniform from her small auto workshop. Her hands shook, not from fear, but from the urgency pressing against her chest. Because she knew something no one else here did. She didn't just know engines. She had built them, designed them, improved them. Before life took everything from her, she had been one of the youngest engineering students ever accepted into a prestigious Canadian university. But after her father's sudden passing, she dropped out, took over his failing garage, and disappeared into a quiet life, leaving behind the brilliance she once carried. Now, facing the dead generator system, she felt that old fire return. She grabbed tools from the wall, crawled under the massive engine, and began working faster than she ever had. Sparks flew. Cold metal scraped her skin. Pipes groaned as she adjusted pressure lines. Sweat mixed with motor oil on her forehead. And above her, she heard the faint cries of patients struggling through the darkness. "Maya," the nurse called from the door, her voice trembling. "We're losing time." "I know," Maya whispered, tightening one last bolt. But the truth was heavy. One mistake would trigger a fuel leak, an explosion, or at best, complete failure. Her heart thumped wildly. She remembered her father's voice, "If you ever doubt yourself, fix what's in front of you." One bolt at a time. She inhaled slowly, then turned the ignition manual switch. For a second, nothing. Then, a cough, a groan, a spark, a roar. The generator rumbled alive, shaking the room. Lights flickered through the hallway. Machines restarted. Nurses gasped. Patients regained hope. A baby's cry echoed from upstairs, strong and clear. Maya leaned back, exhausted, tears burning her eyes as relief washed through her. But she wasn't done. The first generator wasn't enough to power the whole hospital during a storm. So she moved to the second. And the third. One by one, she brought them back to life like a conductor calling an orchestra into harmony. When she finally climbed back upstairs, covered in grease, everyone stared at her, nurses, doctors, even patients who had come out of their rooms to see the girl who saved them. "Who are you?" a doctor asked. Maya wiped her hands on her jacket, her breath visible in the cold hallway. "Just a mechanic," she said. But the chief of staff stepped forward, shaking his head. "No mechanic does what you just did. Tell us the truth." Maya hesitated. For years, she hid her past because she felt she didn't deserve those dreams anymore. But tonight, she changed lives. Tonight, she mattered. "I used to study engineering," she finally said. "I wanted to build systems that protected people. But life got in the way." Silence filled the hallway, soft, respectful, emotional. The doctor placed a hand on her shoulder. "Life didn't get in the way. It led you here. You saved this hospital. You saved lives. You belong in this world more than you think." For the first time in years, Maya felt something warm bloom inside her, belief. By morning, when the storm cleared and the roads reopened, the local news had already arrived, wanting to know about the mysterious young woman who saved an entire hospital during a blackout. But Maya didn't seek attention. She simply walked toward the exit, her toolbox in her hand, ready to return to her quiet garage. As she reached the door, the head nurse called after her, her voice thick with gratitude. "Maya, thank you. You didn't just fix our generators. You reminded us that heroes don't always wear badges. Sometimes they wear oil-stained jackets." Maya smiled softly, stepping out into the cold morning light. For the first time in years, she didn't feel small. She felt unstoppable, and the town would never forget the young mechanic who saved a hospital, long before they knew who she really was.